What's good, y'all? We got four most disturbing moments caught on live TV footage by Chilling Scares. Chilling Scares. Don't chill me. Also, like and subscribe. And if you hear me clearing my throat, I have a little so I might pop a lozenge, cough drop. Yeah.
26, 2015, WDBJ reporter 24-year-old Allison Parker and her cameraman 27-year-old Adam Ward visited the Bridgewater Plaza near Smith Mountain Lake in Virginia. On the morning of August 26, 2015, WDBJ reporter 24-year-old Allison Parker and her cameraman 27-year-old Adam Ward visited the Bridgewater Plaza near Smith Mountain Lake in Virginia. Their goal was to do a live interview with the executive director of the local Chamber of Commerce, Vicki Gardner, about an upcoming event at the lake. Things went just as planned initially, with Adam setting up the camera equipment and Allison starting the interview at 6:45 a.m. What none of them knew, however, was that they were about to become the victims of a crazed stalker. Just seconds into the interview, an armed man walked up to the group and opened fire. The live feed cut back to the in-studio reporter, who was just as shocked at what happened.
They didn't pass, did they?
Happened as the many viewers watching live.
Okay, not sure what happened there. We will, of course, let you know as soon as we find out what those sounds were from.
Tragically, by the time first responders arrived, both Allison and Adam had already succumbed to their injuries and passed away.
Rest in peace.
Vicki was badly hurt as well, but she managed to play dead and ultimately survive the encounter.
Smart fucking woman, yo. I'm sorry for pausing, but dude, I'm telling you, bro. Unless it's like a mass shooting. I had to say it quietly, unless it's a mass shooting. Play dead, gang. Act like if you got hit by a bullet. If it's a yo, ain't no playing dead, bro. You're done for. They're shooting dead bodies.
Despite getting shot in the back. As for the perpetrator, he had already fled the scene by this point. And with no nearby CCTV capturing a clear image of his face or vehicle, investigators were left at a dead end. But then, someone at the WDBJ network analyzed the footage further, which revealed one blurry but still recognizable frame of the person responsible for this tragedy. This was 41-year-old Vester Lee Flanagan, a former WDBJ reporter who went by the professional name of Bryce Williams. He'd actually worked with both Allison and
WDBJ?
Blurry.
The news place is WBDBJ.
But still recognizable frame of the person responsible for this tragedy. This was 41-year-old Vester Lee Flanagan, a former WDBJ reporter who went by the professional name of Bryce Williams. He'd actually worked with both Allison and Adam in the past, but was fired from his job after higher-ups received several reports of workplace aggression. However, what seemed like a disgruntled ex-employee lashing out at his former colleagues at first turned out to have a far darker backstory to it.
Yeah, let's hear it.
You see, Vester had an extensive history of being difficult to work with, long before he joined WDBJ. He was fired from one of his early reporting jobs from NBC affiliate WTWC in the year 2000 for, quote, odd behavior towards his coworkers. While the exact reason for his termination was never revealed to the public, from what I was able to find...
Okay, so why is that blurred in his hand? Why is the pistol blurred in his hands? But nigga, you got rifle and shotgun everywhere. What? Why is that blurred?
It had something to do with him being aggressive and trying to intimidate others. But instead of admitting fault, he filed a racial discrimination lawsuit against his employer, which eventually ended with an...
If you hear me cut off some words, like I just said, it's pistol, yo... I'm cutting down on unnecessary words. Why would I need to say it's a pistol? Fam, it's pistol. Does that make sense? Oh shit, there go car. No, that sounds slow. Never mind, I'm taking that back.
However, that was only the beginning. From
It
there,
only
he
works
found
with
work
its
at
pistol.
multiple other
Only
stations, but
works
struggled
with
to build a
its pistol.
career at one place, largely due to the many altercations he got into with his colleagues. He had severe anger management issues and would often resort to physically confronting his coworkers over even the smallest disagreements.
He had increasing conflicts with people at the station, especially the floor crew, some of the other reporters, some of the photographers in the field, to the point where he was threatening people, had some physical confrontations with a couple of people, and at one point became such a distraction that we finally had
When
to
you're
terminate.
old, when you're older, can you lose this?
Point.
Can you lose that and get on like some moggy shit? Cause it's like, bro, you look like a fucking puppet. No, sir, bro. Yucky, yucky. But nah, bro. What was he getting mad at? Niggas taking his lunch? Nah, I'd get pissed off too. Over the slightest shit, the nigga didn't hold the door for you and you got pissed off and you pressed him? Yo, my nigga, chill the fuck out. He looked like a big ass. Never mind.
Became
I was gonna
such
say he
a
looked like a big ass
distraction
baby,
that
brother.
we
That
finally
nigga's
had to
built like a
terminate.
fucking NFL
He eventually
player.
secured a position
Them
at
big-ass
WDBJ
shows.
in March of 2012, and it was the same story once again. It didn't take long for him to fall into the same pattern of anger and bullying there as
You
well.
can't trust no
Just
nigga
months
without a
into his
C cup,
employment, the
whatever that's called.
WDBJ management had already received multiple reports of his coworkers feeling threatened or uncomfortable working with him. In fact, his behavior at WDBJ was worse than at any of his previous jobs, leading to his termination in January 2013, less than a year after he started. He even had to be escorted out by police when he refused to accept his termination and threatened his superiors with
Can
violence.
you not get a OPO
Vester
or
once
whatever-
again
what's
tried
it
to play
called,
the
a
racial
OPP?
discrimination card and singled out Allison and Adam for the alleged racist behavior. However, a third-party investigation didn't find any evidence of
Restraining.
discrimination and his case was thrown out. He likely named them because he knew they were among the coworkers who had filed complaints against him. After
He's
his
a
shameful
bitch.
termination from WDBJ, he struggled to find work elsewhere in the industry. And his resentment against the two colleagues he believed had destroyed his life only grew with each setback.
Rest in peace to her and him. But bro, every time I keep looking at her and I'm seeing Caroline from Vampire Diaries, fam. Tell me I'm lying. I have to look it up now. I'm sorry. Caroline Vampire Diaries. Candace King. I swear to God, why every time I turn my laptop off, I said laptop. Every time I turn my desktop off, my PC, fam, it goes to Yahoo. Nigga, who is using Yahoo? Who the fuck is using Yahoo anymore? I'm sorry for that disturbance.
This resentment reached
But
its
damn,
tipping
I
point
keep
on the
seeing
morning of
Candace
August
King,
26,
RIP, bro.
2015.
No
He
disrespect
tracked
to
down
the
where
dead.
Allison and Adam were doing their next job and stalked them as they were getting ready to go live. As soon as they began the interview, Vester walked up to them and opened fire. But this was only part
Fucking
one of his
loser,
plan.
bro.
You see, while Adam's camera did catch Vester for a split second, the footage wasn't clear enough for the investigators to name him as the prime suspect with complete certainty. Fortunately, this doubt vanished quickly when, at 8:26 a.m., Vester faxed a 23-page manifesto to ABC News, admitting to everything. Though most of these pages were filled with nothing more than the incoherent ramblings of an extremely angry and mentally unwell man. In them, he described himself as a human powder keg just waiting to go boom, how he was angry.
Flanagan expressed his admiration for his son, Hojo, killed 32 people at the take in 2007. He also referenced the June shootings in Black African Church in Charleston, South Carolina, turned up on the roof of claiming he wanted a race war. When he sent over the top of the church shooting in a hollow point bullets into the victims' initial. Oh, this nigga's a fucking
Of
lunatic.
the world and mentioned the Charleston church incident as his tipping point. How that connected to him taking the lives of his former coworkers
This nigga's
was never
crazy.
entirely clear. Then,
Where the
at
fuck did them points
11:14 a.m.,
connect?
he also uploaded a video of the crime he'd recorded from his point of view on Facebook. This left no doubt that Vester was
This
the
nigga
one behind the
recorded it?
incident, prompting an immediate nationwide manhunt. Tracing his cell phone allowed the officers to
Bro,
find
you
him on the
gotta have
highway,
awareness
attempting to flee the
skills, fam.
state
Fuck
in a
that
rented
camera.
vehicle at 11:20 a.m. But when they tried to pull him over, he sped up and eventually crashed onto the side of the road. And before the officers could
killed
reach his
himself.
car, he decided to end the chase with the firearm he had on
Oh
him,
my-
bringing the
what a
manhunt to
fucking
a sudden,
loser,
shocking
bro.
conclusion.
Deserved, well deserved. In GT, no. Fuck that nigga.
On the
Real
25th
life,
of June
nigga.
2014, Charles Bothell went on the Nancy Grace Show seeking the public's help in finding his missing son. 12-year-old Charlie was first reported missing from his home in Detroit, Michigan 11 days ago on June 14th. His father, Charles, had been doing everything in his power to help locate his son, from going door to door in his neighborhood to spreading missing person posters throughout the city. Unfortunately, despite dozens of people, including the FBI looking for him, the young boy was nowhere to be found. And the hope of finding him alive was diminishing with each passing day. Appearing on live TV was Charles' last-ditch effort to raise awareness about his son's disappearance, hoping someone with information might see the show. However, just minutes into the broadcast, the interview took a bizarre turn when Nancy received a report that no one expected.
Stop. Please don't tell me this nigga died.
The father of the missing 12-year-old boy, Charlie, with me is his father, Charlie Bothell. Charlie, we're getting reports that your son has been found in your basement. Sir?
Apparently, while Charles was on TV, investigators obtained a search warrant to conduct a thorough search of his home. There, they found Charlie huddled in the basement behind a massive pile of barrels and boxes. Upon hearing the news of his son's discovery, Charles reacted with complete shock.
How could your son be alive in your basement?
I don't know if this nigga's faking, but there's not one lick of emotion behind those fucking eyes. Do you see this shit? Yo, cut the cameras off, get him out of here, and get him questioned by the cops. Why is he still on the TV? Who cares? And why is she pressing this nigga? Y'all see her? She went, bitch, turn the camera off. It's not your business. Let the cops handle this shit. Oh my God.
However, something about his reaction felt extremely off. Many argued that a normal father would have ended the interview immediately and rushed to the son he hadn't seen in 11 days. Charles, on the other hand, seemed more concerned with denying the report and trying to prove his innocence.
Sir, did you check your basement?
I checked my basement, the FBI checked my basement, the Detroit police checked my basement, my wife checked my basement. I've been down there several times. We've all been checking.
So, if he's alive, it didn't say he was bound and gagged, did it? It just said he was pressed behind some barrels. Nigga, if you went down there, and your wife went down there, and the cops was down there, the FBI was down there, how them niggas not hear him screaming? Nigga, I would have been in that bitch screaming. He better have been bound and gagged. I don't think that was in there before that. I think he's lying, is he?
He even lashed out at other reports for insinuating that he knowingly forced his son to hide in the basement, when in reality, his actions were far more cruel than anyone could have expected.
Oh, he ain't no freak,
the truth came to light as soon as the investigators found Charlie. According to him, his stepmother, Monique Dillard Bothell, was the one who ordered him to hide in the basement. She also told him not to make any sound, no matter what he heard. From there, they spread the rumor that their son had gone missing and began looking for him.
This is for money.
Despite their cries for help, they were very uncooperative with the police to ensure that Charlie wouldn't be found. Investigators only sought the search warrant because they suspected Charlie was already dead. As for why the couple would do this, that remains a mystery to this day. Both have continued to claim they knew nothing about Charlie's whereabouts. Though, given what we know, the most likely explanation is that they wanted to exert even more control over his life. You see, when the investigators located Charlie, he had severe cuts and bruises on his body, likely from his parents. In addition to that, growing up, he also had to endure a grueling daily exercise routine that included 100 push-ups, 200 sit-ups, and 100 jumping jacks twice a day. Charlie was already homeschooled and cut off from
yeah, fuck that nigga. Fuck this nigga dad, bro. Let this nigga be a kid, bro. Nigga 11 years old, you making this nigga do 100 push-ups? Some niggas my age ain't even doing 100 push-ups. A lot of niggas can't do 100 push-ups. I'm talking to you, fat fuck. You're not doing 100 push-ups, nor are you doing 200 sit-ups. Get your body right. Charlie, hopefully you're doing good in life.
Maybe
fuck
the
your
couple
stepmom,
thought that
fuck
faking
your
his
dad. Hopefully you
disappearance
don't
would
have
allow them to
contact
do whatever
with
they
him.
wanted without any oversight. Regardless of their intentions, their crime was clear as day. The two were arrested shortly after and stood trial over the upcoming months,
Fucking
with
weirdos.
Charlie himself coming forward to
Certified
testify
weirdos.
against them. And while they were able to avoid jail time due to
Never
a plea
trust a
deal,
bitch
they
with
lost
no
complete custody
chin.
of Charlie, who now lives safely with other relatives.
How you got no chin but cheekbone? How'd that work?
On the evening of November 19, 2014, the Rockville, Maryland Fire Department responded to an intense house fire. The fire had engulfed the entire double-story house and was getting more and more intense with each passing minute. It took them over an hour to get the fire under control, and the house was barely standing by that point. Now, fires like these can start for any number of reasons, from a stove left on to an electrical short. However, before the investigators could even think about determining
Dude,
the cause,
I gotta start turning my lights off in here. I be leaving these lights on all day, all night, bro. I'm surprised.
20-year-old Carlos Peralta, who was one of the residents of the house, walked up to an ABC7 reporter covering the incident live and made the wildest revelation. According to him, this fire was the result of arson. Not only that, but he was the one who started the fire just hours earlier.
Me, I set it on fire.
Given the sheer strangeness of this unsolicited confession, the reporter didn't believe him at first. But Carlos was more than happy to provide more details of how he committed the crime.
Don't trust the nigga who wore his caps like that. Fold that
Set it on
motherfucker.
fire and
Pull it
went by a
down.
drink and came back.
Minutes later, he walked up to the police officers standing
No
nearby
swag.
and confessed to them.
No
as
swag.
well.
See, take hints from these cops, my nigga. He got his shit folded over and pulled down. Swagger. Nigga, you got that big ass loose ass condom on, loose ass dick.
His clothes had the smell of gasoline, and a basic search
shit
revealed
trash.
a lighter in his pocket,
No mustache,
providing the
goatee
officers
combo.
enough evidence to believe his story and arrest him on the spot. As for his motive, Carlos claimed that he did all this to get the media's attention about the deplorable living conditions in that house. However, burning down the house he wanted to report on made little sense. That is, until investigators dug further into his history and discovered that he'd been suffering from schizophrenia as well as alcoholism for the past few years. He was also arrested for destruction of property just 2 weeks before this incident. Put simply, this house fire was the doing of a mentally troubled man who genuinely believed he was doing the right thing. The fire ended up causing $400,000 in property damage. Fortunately, the other 5 residents, including Carlos's own mother, were able to escape without any harm. Though what happened to Carlos after his arrest was never made public. But given the severity of his crime, he was likely sentenced to several years in prison.
He's either in prison or like in a mental spot, wouldn't he be? He has schizophrenia. Yo, if you know he's schizo, don't leave him at home by himself, even if he's a grown man. And like, bro, depending on like how bad that shit is, bro, you really trust me at home? A full-blown, I'm not gonna call him a lunatic because that's like disrespectful. He has a mental illness. A full-blown person who's seeing delusions and shit, hearing shit, going crazy, psychosis. You're really gonna trust me at the house by myself? Yeah, y'all niggas are retarded. Not smart. Niggas is not smart.
On July 27, 2007, news helicopters in Phoenix, Arizona were reporting on a live police chase that was happening in the city. The chase had begun about 22 minutes earlier when the police identified and pulled over a stolen flatbed pickup truck. In an attempt to avoid arrest, the driver, 23-year-old Christopher J. Jones, reversed into the police cruiser and tried to flee the scene. Unfortunately for him, word of the chase got out quickly, and minutes later, 6 different helicopters were tracking his every move. This included 1 police chopper and 5 others from different news stations.
Yeah, you're not getting
However,
away.
while everyone's eyes were fixated on the road, a tragedy was about to take place in the sky.
Stop.
Yeah,
See
he
what
can't
happens
go
here.
much
He
further.
has stopped. This may be the end of this thing.
Well, he's
Is he
taking
crashed?
running.
Okay, now it's a foot chase.
Okay, now he's jumped into
Now he's in
another
another vehicle. Okay,
All right, they're
doors open,
closing in.
police,
Looks
okay.
like they've.
Oh, jeez.
Oh!
We don't know what has just happened right there. It looks like the police have closed in on him. We don't know what it.
You don't know. You ain't hear this nigga screaming for his life. He said, "Rah!" You ain't hear that nigga?
Right, we're gonna pull out. We don't know
In
what
another vehicle. Okay,
All right, they're
doors
closing
open,
in.
police,
Looks
okay.
like they've.
Oh, jeez.
We're gonna pull out. We don't know what has just happened right there. It looks like the police
You don't hear
have
that?
closed in on him. We don't know what exactly has transpired between the police.
Seemingly out of nowhere, 2 of the news helicopters' feeds abruptly stopped.
Oh, shit, did they
had
crash
crashed
it?
into
Oh,
each other before
fuck.
tumbling to the ground and
Oh. Yo, how?
exploding on
How?
impact. One of the helicopters involved in this
good?
crash belonged to an ABC affiliate network, KNXV, piloted by Craig Smith with camera operator Rick
Is he
Kroll.
good?
The other was reporting back to an independent Phoenix station named KTVK with pilot Scott Bowerbank and photographer Jim Cox. All 4 were sadly killed instantly on impact, leaving the other reporters stunned and struggling to process the sudden tragedy.
Rest in peace.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, my gosh.
Rest in peace.
Oh.
Yo, turn the cameras off. Get that shit off.
Just had
It's
a
like,
midair
nigga,
collision.
you just seen a tragedy happen, and the first thing you want to do is put the camera back on the nigga. These niggas is dead. Take the camera off and go follow him, bruh. The cops, the ambulance is on the way.
Over here at the park, 2 helicopters.
Get your ass on that
2
fucking car.
helicopters down.
Oh my gosh,
God.
niggas do not have to see everything.
Fortunately, the helicopter's crash landed in an empty park, avoiding any additional casualties. A later investigation by the National Transportation Safety Board concluded that the accident was the result of both pilots' failure to see and avoid the other helicopter. But that still raises the question of how. How
exactly
could 2
how?
experienced pilots make such a critical error? Well, the answer to that lies in how many news helicopters operated during that time. But first, an important thing to note is that when so many choppers are in close proximity, traditional air traffic control systems are not very useful. Instead, the pilots are instructed to operate under visual flight rules. In other
It was
words,
only
they were
2. It was 2 of them or 4 helicopters. If it was 4, I could understand because that's crowded.
responsible
but
for keeping an eye on their
this is them
surroundings and
2. It's
maintaining
like,
safe
how?
distance
I
at all
would've been
times.
like that.
Now, this shouldn't have been an issue for experienced helicopter
Been like
pilots
this.
like Craig and Scott. The issue, however, was that the 2 were doing a lot more than just flying the choppers.
Getting
Not only
angles
did
and
they have to
shit.
monitor multiple communication channels with other helicopters, air traffic control, and the network, they were also reporting live on the action below as it unfolded before them. While juggling all these responsibilities, one of the pilots briefly lost awareness of their surroundings for just a few seconds.
Wait,
Tragically, that was long enough for the helicopters to drift too close.
The helicopter, they don't have other people in there controlling that shit for them? Would that not make sense? Yo, nigga, you control this camera and you hop on comms. What the fuck are you talking about? Why would there... There's 4 people. How did they... What?
And collide midair. The
How does
only
that
silver
work?
lining was that the
How does
incident
it
led to
work?
major reforms in news helicopter safety, including news stations using a shared single helicopter feed.
Because
and
I would have just
studio
been flying that
ground-based
motherfucker
reporting.
because that's
Measures
already
that
stressful.
continue to save lives to this day.
You talk and you tell them what's happening. Yo, good video. Scary chills. You gave me some scary chills, chilling scaries. Let's leave a like. Just like how I left a like, you should leave a like. And just how I'm subscribed. Not on this account though. You should be subscribed to me. Thank you. Goodbye.